So what I'm going to be doing is just a quick demo of how I soak off my press-on nails. Right now I'm at the phase where they're at the uncomfortable and not so cute looking grow out phase. So I'm going to just take a few minutes and soak them off while I have some time today. I typically like to work on one hand, at a time, just because I like to keep one hand free. And so I have all my supplies. I have my deep manicure bowl. I have some for my acetone. I'm gonna go ahead and stick the acetone in here. What you want to do when you're warming up acetone, you always want to make sure that you kind of lift the lid up a little bit too, because as acetone gets warm, it expands, it gives off fumes, and if you do not open the lid a little bit, it's gonna spew out when you open it. So I have my bowl of water with the acetone just to heat that up a little bit. I have my 180 nail file. I have a nail buffer. I have a wood stick. I have a cuticle pusher / gel polish remover. And I have some cuticle oil here. So I'm going to just start with, and I know I'm going to be soaking in acetone. I always just put a little bit of cuticle oil on first. And that's just a buffer to keep some of that acetone from getting in. I like to use my cuticle oil. I also like to go in and just file the nails down some. I'm using the coarser side, the 100 side, and it's just to helps to get the gel polish off for one, but just to thin out the tip that I have on. I don't even wear tips often now. I like pretty low maintenance, and I really don't care for this soak off part here and taking the time to do all of this. So really, I just like to keep them natural and wear just regular nail polish. That way I could just change that nail polish out when I get tired of it in a couple of days, or sometimes I just wear it natural with nothing at all on it. So it's just a matter of personal preference. But you want to, use that 100 grit side, remove that polish, and thin out the tip, and that way you don't have to soak as long. Now you can also use the cotton ball and foil method, for the removal, but today my time is minimal, so I'm gonna just soak off in acetone. So that's why I like to use these plastic back medical pads, just because acetone, if you have any mishaps with the acetone, it's going to soak into this this plastic paper here, and it won't mess up your tabletop, whatever surface that you're working on. Acetone, it will eat through the surface, or it will leave a ring on the surface, or if it's wood, it'll leave a ring. If it's plastic, it's gonna melt the plastic and it's gonna leave a ring. It'll damage your surface. So that's just something else to be mindful of. Reason that I warmed up the acetone is because it helps to break down that tip just a little bit faster just by it being warm. I applied some more cuticle oil, but I don't like the soak too long. And another thing with these tips, they had been on for a couple of weeks now, and so they started lifting at the back. And so what I'm hoping for is that I won't have to soak as long, and that the acetone seep into those little areas in the back, and it'll help the soak off process go along a lot faster. Another thing to be mindful of when you're soaking off and you're going to be using acetone is be mindful of what you're wearing as well. Like I have on a watch today, and I'm not too concerned with it, getting damaged. It's just a watch that I work in, but I'm not too concerned with it getting damaged, just in case I have a mishap or anything with the acetone, or from filing the nails, all the dust getting into it. So if you have that to worry about, then I would remove a watch or any jewelry. If you're wearing rings that you're overly concerned with, diamonds or anything, I would remove them prior to putting your hands into the acetone, just to avoid any mistakes. You want to be mindful of the clothes that you're wearing too, just because when you're filing, dust is going to get everywhere when you're filing. So I wouldn't recommend wearing your best dressed if you're going to be soaking off and filing your nails. So it's been just a few minutes now, not even 5 minutes, but I like to start the process just a little bit earlier, just so I can minimize that soaking time. So as you can see, just because that acetone was warm, I'm already able to start removing that tip from my nail, which is what I want. just that plastic tip is starting to wear down from that acetone. It doesn't take a long time, but it's always good to, you know, check in between. So I'm going to check again to see what the progress is at this time. And just continue to scrape. Now you don't want to scrape aggressively to where you get down to your natural nail and you end up damaging your nail. That's not what you want. And you don't want to pry the nail off either. You know, the nail, my nails is already lifting a little bit, but I do not personally like to pry it off and damage my nails underneath. So that's why I'm going the longer route and just soaking them off the proper way, just to save the integrity of my nails. I do have a nail file that I like to use, an electric file, but I didn't feel like doing it today. So doing it this way, sometimes it's a little more convenient for me, especially when I'm doing it myself. This is something easy to do at home. In between, as you're removing some of that tip and that polish, as it's starting to wear down with that acetone, you still want to go through and file a little bit. You're still thinning down that tip, not aggressively, but you're still filing, just so that acetone can continue to work through and continue to thin out that tip, so you can finally get the tips off. And then don't forget, filing, it does create dust too. So you, at this part, you know, you may want to wear a mask because the dust is going to get everywhere. It's going to be in the air. I wouldn't be near a fan because the dust is going to blow on everything. Just, you know, whatever you feel comfortable with. I just like to go just over to all 5 fingers. Now, I'm not being aggressive at all. I'm still being light. I'm still working with the 100 grit side, the more coarse grit. That's what I'm working with right now. So I'm going to continue to do this a couple times to just alternate in between soaking and then coming out and scraping with the metal tool, and then filing a little bit, and I'm going to repeat the process till I'm done. There you go. You may have some areas that may be a little bit more resistant than others. I'm still not going to force it off. I'm going to still be gentle. I'm still concerned about worrying about my natural nails underneath. Still want to keep those nails healthy. And what I did, it's been about 10 minutes now altogether. 10, 12 minutes. And it's been about alternating. It's been maybe about 4 times that I've done it now. And I only soak my nails maybe for about 2 minutes each time. And I come out and just lightly scrape a little bit. You can see that that's almost coming up. Here's all that tip that we removed so far. I'm down to my natural nail now, so I'm going to be a lot more gentle now. I still have some pieces here, like I said, that are a little bit more resistant. I'll go back in. I'm going to file some more. Look at that, that's coming right off. It's just a plastic tip. Still removing that. Like in between, I want to make sure too, I did put cuticle oil underneath my nail as well, just to, like I said, acetone from soaking into my skin and my nails. So make sure you get the underside of the nail too when you put that cuticle oil. So I'm gonna go in and file a little bit more. This time I'm gonna use the 100 grit side. That's a little bit softer to use. It's not as coarse as the 180. And since I'm on my natural nail, I'm gonna just be a little bit more gentle. And just slightly continue to file. I don't want to rough up the surface of my nails too much. I can feel where the product is. That's where I'm just trying to buff that off. I don't want to create coarseness on my nails. I don't want to create heat. I'm just trying to get that product off. So still buffing really lightly. Almost all of the product is almost completely off all of my nails. That's what you want, a nice clean soak off to where your nails are still nice and healthy underneath. Sometimes that's where the damage comes in too, is during this process, depending on, you know, if you're doing it yourself or even if you go to a salon. Sometimes if they're being too aggressive with the scraping in the soak off process, that can cause some of your nail damage as well. At this point, I have all the product off. I'm just doing one last little light scrape just to make sure everything is off. And you can tell if it's off because it feels like a little bit gummy, or you feel it texture on your nail still. That's how you'll know if you still have product on it or not. I'm just coming through. This is where it was just a little bit more resistant, so I had to just soak that area just a little bit longer. See, that's still coming up there. That is it. Still looking healthy. At this point, I like to go in and put some cuticle oil on here. I like to use my wood stick and just do a little mini cuticle push back while I'm here and already have that oil on the nail. Still just getting that nice and clean. So I really did like a 2-in-1. I was able to get my nails soaked off, and then now able to do like a little light mini oil manicure. Just getting that oil right into my skin, right into my nails. And also the oil helps to lift, if there was any product remaining, if there was still any on the nails, that oil just helps to lift that right up. Like to use just both sides just to come through and clean that up. Get in between there. See, really simple. Doing both hands, like I said, I like to do one at a time because I like to keep one hand free at all times, just in case I need to use the phone or just anything. Normally it may take 30 to 45 minutes. It just depends. There, that nail nice and clean. And I'm going to just go through with the white buffer and just buff the surface of the nail. It has that oil in there, so it's just getting it nice and buffed into that nail, still being soft. This buffer is really light. I think this is a 240 grit buffer that I'm using. Something really light on the natural nails. Just buffing that up. That is done. Nice and clean. So I got all my nails soaked off. Everything is good. My nails are still healthy underneath. So that's the benefit of soaking off the proper way. So now I'm going to get rid of this acetone. What you don't want to do is pour this acetone in your drain because it can mess up your plumbing. So the best thing to do is take a paper towel and just stick right in there and just let it soak into that paper towel. That's what I'm going to do. Let that soak. And then what I also like to do is, what I'm also going to do, I'm going to throw this buffer away too. I don't need the buffer. If you're using it at home, you can reuse the buffer, you can reuse the file, but you know, using it in a professional setting, you want to throw that away. Back pads, right? So I'm going to soak up as much as acetone as I can, and I'm going to take this plastic back pad and get the remaining too. Just soak that up. Let's just get another paper towel. Let's make it a little bit easier. Got that done. Set that to the side. And I'm going to just fold everything in. And another thing, great thing about these pads, it helps to minimize the spills, and it helps to minimize the acetone smell as well. So we're all done with that. I'm going to clean up my area, and that's it. Nice and simple. Thanks for watching. I hope that helps.